Yeah, this is I got some message from yesterday. Yeah, how we are, what we need to do our community to develop our Christian values and Christian faith. What to do? We need to praying family and praying community. Then we can develop with our community. We are contribute to our community something for each person. Yeah.
Did you have a favourite part of the day yesterday, or was there something that you heard that remained with you especially?
Yeah, this yesterday Blessed Sacrament. Yeah, that's is the main important part of my view.
What were your impressions of the different inputs yesterday during the
I thought it was I thought it was a fantastic day. It was actually quite draining, but incredibly stimulating. I think that's why it was quite draining, and I think it was quite challenging as well, which was very good. And it was nice to see, although people had different perspectives, there was some very similar ideas and desires coming out.
There was loads yesterday. I'm still trying to digest some of it. I was very taken with Father King's address, and especially the importance that he put on St. Paul's letters and how we can bring liturgy to life more in the church, and that's kind of excited me a little bit. That's well, certainly from yesterday, that's certainly one thing that I'd like to try to explore and bring to life more in our parish.
The thing that strikes me the most at the minute is the hope. There's sort of an air of excitement. Everybody seems to be very eager to move forward, to progress. I mean, we all know this is a very difficult time for the Catholic Church, for the Oblate family. Everybody here is just so excited and so full of hope and faith in the future, and it's very encouraging, especially seeing the young people here, seeing their input, and I can't wait for today, to be honest with you.
So there's an example that Pat referred to as from a work situation of one where there needs to be ownership. And if somebody blocks that ownership, it becomes difficult. It's also, what I suggest, difficult to get ownership. When I devised this session and tried to give a description of it, I hardly knew what I was describing. And so I tried to sit back myself and say, well, what might we be working with? I talked a little bit about, or had in it, that some of my own sense and some that I think might help us, coming from Tom Broom, who's a religious educator, mainly focusing sometimes around adult education. But Tom Broom talked in one of his books about being a leading learner. And so an attitude within ourselves that even when we are leading, we are learning.
Now, you might have noticed that one of the aspects that's been kind of missing so far, well, great, they're the youth service, and we've seen a lot about the service, we've seen the youth. But where's the oblate bit? And Peter is very strong, and he'd never say it himself, but he's very, very strong on ensuring that every single thing that the youth service does is rooted in Eugene, St. Eugene. And that we're connected and we're integrated on that level. So not just the fact that he served the poorest of the poor and all that, but that there's that little bit more tangible connection with all that spirituality.
Instead of prostitution being out in the street now, it's much more and more apartment driven, mobile phone driven. So they get them over, they're trafficked over, they get mobile phones, the trafficker and his friends give them an apartment, and they may be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, servicing. That's what it's called. And it's really, it's a human slavery, modern human slavery. And it's mostly women, some children, and a few men. So it's one of the biggest, and the opening up, in fact, we call it, internationalism, but the opening up of borders has in fact made it much more difficult, because of course people are, women in particular, in very poor countries are being told, look, we get her a great job over in Europe, give us 5,000, give us 500, or even give us nothing and we'll make sure to see her good, we know your cousin over there. You could have said that about the Irish in America, we'll say, or Australia, 100 years ago, and it's over here and their whole lives change as a result. So we have some safe houses, we have women who are going back into education, and we have a health clinic for them. So that's beginnings of change.
What is this vision of Eugene de Mazenod? What is the spirit? And here I have to bring in a big word. We Oblates sometimes like to use big words. This word, charism. Charism is a Greek word which means gift. And it works in the history of the church that God, any time that there are difficulties, particularly in the church, God never abandons his people. God raises up someone and gives them a particular gift through the Holy Spirit to be able to do something in the church. And so what I wrote over there, in moments of special need, the Holy Spirit gives particular gifts to the church for its welfare. These gifts are called charisms, and all are invited to share in them. A couple of examples: Eugene de Mazenod raised up after the French Revolution with a particular gift from the Holy Spirit. Francis of Assisi, during the time when the church was very powerful, he received the charism to make known the poverty of God, the God who stripped himself to become one of us. Dominic, in time of heresy in the church, Dominic was called, he was given a particular charism to live the truth, to help the church in this time of difficulty. And so when we talk about the Oblate Spirit, we are talking about charism. And in our constitutions and rules we read, the charism of St. Eugene de Mazenod is a gift of the Spirit to the church, and it radiates throughout the world. We're all here today because we've come in touch with this charism.
So it needs to be effective. That means we need to be informed, formed, and then transformed. And then the learning becomes effective. We want to share the wisdom of everybody. We want people to participate and to feel affirmed that they can say what they think.
I think what you've just described, Louis, is very typical of the struggle in so many people's lives at the present time in the encounter of generations between what we might call a more secularized experience of the world and those of us who carry the tradition of another way of relating to the world in the past. There's no kind of easy, comfortable solution that you can give to parents or to young people as how to cope with that, other than to be faithful to them in presence and work with them and work through it, in the confidence that it works through to good.